Maya stood frozen in her husband's office, the credit card statement trembling in her hands. There it was, in black and white, thousands of dollars spent at luxury stores she had never visited, restaurants where she had never eaten, and hotel rooms where she had never slept. The purchases weren't hers, and they certainly weren't Richard's style either. Her husband of 7 years, the tech billionaire who had promised to love only her until death did them part, had given someone else access to their money. Someone named Vanessa Collins. The name appeared over and over in the receipts. Vanessa Collins at Tiffany's. Vanessa Collins at the Four Seasons. Vanessa Collins at that French restaurant Richard had once told Maya was too pretentious when she suggested they go there for their anniversary. Maya sank into Richard's leather chair, her legs too weak to hold her up anymore. The office suddenly felt too large, too cold, too empty, much like her heart did now. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows of their penthouse apartment, New York City sparkled in the evening light, oblivious to her world crumbling. She had come looking for a folder Richard needed for a meeting tomorrow. Instead, she found this, evidence of betrayal hidden in plain sight. Richard, the man who had swept her off her feet at a charity gala 7 years ago, the man who looked at her like she hung the moon even after all these years, the man who built a billion-dollar tech empire from nothing while keeping his heart humble, that man had been living a double life. Just 3 hours ago they had been laughing over dinner. He had kissed her goodbye before heading to a late business meeting. Now she wondered if every late night, every business trip, every moment away from her had been spent with Vanessa Collins. Maya picked up her phone and stared at it. She could call him right now, scream at him, demand answers. But something stopped her. A cold, calm feeling washed over her. No, this required more than angry words thrown in the heat of the moment. This required a plan. She took photos of every incriminating statement, every receipt. Then she pulled up her own bank account, the one Richard didn't know about, the one where she kept money from her days as a marketing executive before she quit to support Richard's growing company. The balance looked back at her, healthy but nowhere near the billions Richard was worth. Maya had never cared about Richard's money. When they met, she was making 6 figures on her own, and his first startup had just begun to take off. They fell in love when he was merely a millionaire with potential, not the tech titan he became. She loved the man, not his wallet. But now, his money had become the evidence of his betrayal. The sound of keys in the door jolted her. She quickly returned the statements to the drawer, closed it, and grabbed the folder Richard had asked for. By the time he entered the office, she was standing by the bookshelf, folder in hand, a practiced smile on her face. "Hey babe, found it?" Richard's voice was warm, his smile genuine. He loosened his tie as he walked toward her, handsome in his tailored suit. At 42, Richard Kane was still as attractive as the day they met, tall, with salt and pepper hair that only made him more distinguished, and eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. "Right here," Maya replied, surprised by how normal her voice sounded when inside she was screaming. She handed him the folder, careful not to let their fingers touch. "How was your meeting?" "Productive. The merger's looking good." He took the folder, then leaned in to kiss her. Maya turned slightly so his lips landed on her cheek instead of her mouth. If he noticed, he didn't show it. "I'm heading to bed," she said. "Don't stay up too late." He nodded, already distracted by something on his phone. "I'll join you soon." In their bedroom, Maya went through the motions of her nighttime routine, removing her makeup, brushing her teeth, applying her face cream. The woman in the mirror looked like her, same deep brown skin, same dark eyes, same full lips, but somehow also looked like a stranger. Who was this woman whose husband cheated on her? Who was this woman who smiled and pretended not to know? Who was this woman planning her next move in silence? As she climbed into their king-sized bed, her mind raced with questions. Who was Vanessa Collins? How long had it been going on? Did Richard love her? Was Maya simply a trophy wife now, someone to appear at his side at corporate events while his heart belonged to another? She heard Richard moving around in the bathroom. Soon he would climb into bed beside her, perhaps trying to hold her, to kiss her goodnight, maybe even to make love to her. The thought made her stomach turn. Maya turned away from his side of the bed and closed her eyes, pretending to be asleep. She felt the mattress dip as Richard got in, felt his hesitation before he sighed and settled on his side without touching her. In the darkness, Maya made her decision. She would not confront him, not yet. First, she would find out everything she could about Vanessa Collins. Then she would make a plan. Richard had taught her about business strategy over the years, about calculating moves and countermoves. Now she would use those lessons against him. Tomorrow she would start her investigation. Tonight, she would lie beside the stranger she had married and mourn the love she thought they shared. As she drifted into a fitful sleep, Maya had no idea that the path ahead would lead her not just to the truth about Richard's betrayal, but to truths about herself she had never faced. This was just the beginning, and before it was over, both Richard and Vanessa Collins would learn exactly who they were dealing with. Maya woke up to an empty bed. Richard had already left, his side of the mattress cold. A note on his pillow read, "Early meeting. Dinner at Giovanni's tonight? Love you." She crumpled the paper in her fist. Well, was that what he called it? She reached for her phone and called her best friend, Zoe. "I need your help," Maya said when Zoe answered. "And I need you not to ask questions yet." An hour later, they sat in a quiet corner of a coffee shop 10 blocks from Maya's apartment. Maya had chosen somewhere Richard would never go, a small, unremarkable place without the expensive beans and designer atmosphere he preferred. "Okay, what's going on?" Zoe asked, her eyes concerned. "You look like you haven't slept." Maya pushed her phone across the table, showing Zoe the photos of the credit card statements. "Richard's having an affair." Zoe's eyes widened as she scrolled through the images. "Maya, I'm so sorry." "I need to know who she is," Maya said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Vanessa Collins. I need to know everything about her." Zoe nodded slowly. As a private investigator, she was exactly the person Maya needed. "I'll find her." "But Maya, what will you do then?" Maya stared into her untouched coffee. "I don't know yet. But I need all the facts first." She spent the rest of the day going through the motions of her normal routine. She attended her weekly meeting with the education foundation she ran, Richard's money funding scholarships for disadvantaged youth, but her heart and mind directing every decision. She smiled through lunch with a potential donor. She even stopped by her favorite boutique to buy a new dress for dinner at Giovanni's. All the while, her phone burned in her pocket, waiting for Zoe's call. It came at 3 p.m. just as Maya was stepping out of the boutique. "I found her," Zoe said without preamble. "Can you meet me at my office?" 30 minutes later, Maya sat across from Zoe, staring at a folder of information. Vanessa Collins was 29, 8 years younger than Maya. She worked as an art dealer in a high-end gallery in Chelsea. She was beautiful with light brown skin and long, straight hair. According to her social media, she had attended NYU, traveled extensively, and had excellent taste in wine and modern art. "She lives here," Zoe said, pointing to an address in Soho. "Rent-controlled but still pricey. She couldn't afford it on her gallery salary alone." Maya nodded, absorbing the information. "How long? How long has she been seeing Richard?" Zoe hesitated. "Based on her social media, I'd say about 6 months. There are gaps in her posts, times when she's clearly somewhere luxurious but doesn't tag the location. Those gaps align with some of Richard's business trips." 6 months. While Maya had been running his foundation, supporting his career, loving him completely, Richard had been building a relationship with this woman. "There's more," Zoe said gently. "She was at Giovanni's last week. She posted a review online." Maya felt sick. Giovanni's was their restaurant, hers and Richard's. Now he was planning to take her there tonight, to the same place he had taken his mistress. "Thank you," Maya said, gathering the folder. "I need to go." "Maya, wait," Zoe caught her arm. "What are you going to do?" Maya looked at her friend, a calm determination settling over her. "I'm going to get ready for dinner." At 7 p.m., Maya walked into Giovanni's on Richard's arm, wearing her new dress, a deep red that highlighted her curves and made her dark skin glow. Richard looked at her appreciatively, his hand resting possessively on her lower back as they were led to their usual table. "You look amazing tonight," he said, his eyes warm as they sat down. Maya smiled. "Thank you. I wanted to look special." Richard ordered wine, chatted about his day, asked about hers. To anyone watching, they were the perfect couple, successful, beautiful, in love. Maya played her part, laughing at his jokes, touching his hand across the table, all while her mind calculated her next move. Halfway through their entrees, Richard's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then quickly turned it face down. "Work?" Maya asked innocently. "Nothing important," Richard replied, but his eyes shifted away slightly. Maya had learned over the years when Richard was lying. It was a subtle tell, that quick aversion of his gaze, but she knew it well. "I was thinking," Maya said, changing the subject, "we should go away this weekend. Just the two of us. It's been a while since we had time alone." Richard's expression flickered, surprise, then calculation, then a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "This weekend? I have some meetings." "Cancel them," Maya said, her voice light but her eyes challenging. The company won't fall apart without you for 2 days. She watched him squirm slightly, making excuses, important clients, critical decisions, the usual reasons he gave when he didn't want to do something. Maya knew now that his weekend was likely already promised to Vanessa Collins. It's fine, she said finally, cutting off his explanations. It was just an idea. The rest of dinner passed in a blur of small talk and forced smiles. When they returned home, Richard retreated to his office, claiming he needed to prepare for a board meeting. Maya changed out of her dress, washed away her makeup, and sat on the edge of their bed, staring at the folder Zoe had given her. Tomorrow, Vanessa Collins had a gallery opening. Maya checked her own schedule, empty as she had already cleared it for her next move. She would meet the other woman face to face, see with her own eyes the person Richard had chosen to betray her with. As she tucked the folder away in her private drawer, Maya heard Richard's voice from the office. Low, intimate, laughing softly. He was talking to someone who made him laugh like that late at night, and Maya knew it wasn't a business call. She closed her drawer quietly and got into bed, staring at the ceiling as Richard's muffled voice continued from down the hall. 6 months of lies. 6 months of betrayal. Tomorrow would be the first step toward whatever came next. Reconciliation or revenge, Maya wasn't sure yet. But she knew she wouldn't be anyone's fool for a moment longer. The gallery was crowded with New York's art elite. Critics, collectors, and socialites mingling among abstract sculptures and large canvases splashed with bold colors. Maya moved through the space carefully, a glass of champagne in hand, her eyes scanning the room for the woman whose photos she had memorized. She spotted Vanessa Collins near the center of the gallery, gesturing enthusiastically as she spoke to an older couple about a particularly striking painting. She was even more beautiful in person, tall and graceful, wearing a simple black dress that looked expensive in that understated way only truly costly things can achieve. Maya watched her from a distance, noting how Vanessa's face lit up when she talked about the art, how she touched people's arms lightly when making a point, how she threw her head back when she laughed. There was a magnetism to her that Maya understood immediately. Vanessa Collins was charming, passionate, alive. Steeling herself, Maya approached as the couple moved away. That painting is quite remarkable, she said, nodding toward the canvas Vanessa had been discussing. Vanessa turned to her with a professional smile. Isn't it? The artist is exploring themes of connection and separation. See how the lines almost touch but never quite meet. Like relationships, Maya said. So close but ultimately divided. Something flickered in Vanessa's eyes, appreciation for the insight. Exactly. Are you a collector? I'm exploring, Maya replied. I'm Maya, by the way. Vanessa Collins, she said, extending her hand. I'd be happy to show you some pieces that might interest you. Maya took her hand, wondering if this woman knew whose wife she was shaking hands with. Did Richard talk about her? Did he complain about their marriage? Did he promise Vanessa he would leave Maya someday? They walked through the gallery together, Vanessa explaining each piece, genuinely passionate about the art and the artists. In another circumstance, Maya might have liked her. This one just arrived, Vanessa said, stopping before a smaller canvas with deep blues and golds swirling together. It's already getting interest, but I think it needs the right home, someone who understands what it's saying. Maya studied the painting. And what is it saying? That beauty often comes from turbulence, Vanessa answered. That opposing forces can create something magnificent when they meet. How much? Maya asked suddenly. Vanessa named a price that would make most people blink, but Maya simply nodded. I'll take it. Surprise and pleasure crossed Vanessa's face. She led Maya to a small desk to complete the paperwork. As Maya pulled out her credit card, not one connected to Richard's accounts, she watched Vanessa's face carefully. Maya Kane. Vanessa read from the card, her expression perfectly neutral except for the smallest tightening around her eyes. She knew exactly who Maya was. Yes, Maya confirmed. My husband and I collect art occasionally. Though usually Richard lets me make the selections. The name hung in the air between them. Vanessa's hand trembled slightly as she processed the payment, but her voice remained steady. You have excellent taste, Mrs. Kane. Just Maya, please, she said, signing the receipt. After all, I feel like we have so much in common. Their eyes met, and in that moment, all pretense fell away. Vanessa knew that Maya knew. The question was, what would happen next? The gallery will deliver the painting to your address next week, Vanessa said, her professional mask firmly back in place. Maya took the receipt and her credit card. Actually, I'd appreciate if you could deliver it personally. Say Tuesday afternoon? I'll be home alone. Vanessa hesitated, then nodded once. Of course. Wonderful, Maya said, smiling a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I look forward to our conversation. As Maya walked out of the gallery into the cool evening air, her heart raced. She had looked her husband's mistress in the eye, had seen the recognition, the fear, the defiance. Tuesday would bring answers, confrontation, perhaps even understanding. Her phone buzzed with a text from Richard, working late. Don't wait up. Maya looked at the message and laughed bitterly. Working late. Of course he was. She hailed a taxi and gave the driver an address, not her penthouse, but a small jazz club downtown where she used to go before she met Richard, before her life became all galas and board meetings and perfect smiles hiding perfect pain. The club was dark and smoky, the music wrapping around her like an old friend as she found a seat at the bar. She ordered a whiskey neat and closed her eyes, letting the saxophone wash away the image of Vanessa Collins' face when she realized who Maya was. This seat taken? A deep voice asked. Maya opened her eyes to see a man gesturing to the stool beside her. Handsome, about her age, with kind eyes. It's all yours, she said. James? He offered, extending his hand. Maya, she replied, shaking it. That's a beautiful name, he said. Are you here alone? For a moment, Maya considered what it would be like to flirt with this stranger, to let him buy her drinks, perhaps even to go home with him. An eye for an eye. But the thought left a sour taste in her mouth. That wasn't who she was, wasn't who she wanted to be, no matter what Richard had done. I'm married, she said simply, holding up her left hand with its large diamond ring. James nodded respectfully. Lucky man. Maya smiled sadly. I used to think so. They sat in companionable silence, listening to the music. James didn't press, didn't flirt again, just shared the moment with her. When the set ended, he wished her a good night and moved to another part of the bar. Maya finished her drink and left, feeling strangely lighter. She had faced Vanessa Collins and held her ground. She had been tempted to betray Richard as he had betrayed her and had chosen not to. Each choice was a step toward whatever her future held. As she climbed into a taxi, Maya realized she was no longer simply reacting to Richard's betrayal. She was choosing her path forward, deliberate and clear-eyed. Tuesday would bring confrontation with Vanessa, and after that, with Richard. But tonight, for the first time since she found those credit card statements, Maya slept without dreams, a deep and peaceful sleep that prepared her for the battle ahead. Tuesday arrived with a clarity that surprised Maya. She spent the morning preparing, sending emails to reschedule appointments, tidying the penthouse to a perfect shine, selecting her outfit carefully. A simple blue dress, minimal jewelry, hair pulled back. This wasn't about intimidation, it was about respect. For herself, for the truth, even, strangely, for Vanessa. At precisely 2 p.m., the doorman called to announce Miss Collins' arrival. Maya took a deep breath and told him to send her up. When the elevator doors opened directly into the penthouse foyer, Vanessa stepped out holding the wrapped painting, her face a careful mask of professionalism. Mrs. Kane, she said formally. Please come in, Maya replied, gesturing toward the living room with its panoramic views of Central Park. And I said to call me Maya. Vanessa followed, her eyes taking in the space, the tasteful furniture, the existing art collection, the photos of Maya and Richard displayed on shelves and walls. Her gaze lingered on a large photograph from their wedding day, Maya radiant in white, Richard looking at her with unmistakable love. Where would you like the painting? Vanessa asked, her voice tight. Let's set it aside for now, Maya said, taking the wrapped canvas and propping it against a wall. Would you like some tea? Or perhaps something stronger? Vanessa hesitated. Tea would be fine. Maya busied herself in the open kitchen, giving them both a moment to prepare. When she returned with 2 steaming mugs, Vanessa was standing by the windows looking out at the park. It's a beautiful view, Vanessa said quietly. Yes, Maya agreed, handing her a mug. Richard bought this place as a surprise for our 5th anniversary. He said he wanted me to have the most beautiful view in the city because I was the most beautiful thing in his life. Vanessa flinched slightly but said nothing. Please sit, Maya said, gesturing to the sofa. She took a chair opposite, setting her tea on the coffee table between them. For a long moment, neither woman spoke. Then Maya reached into a drawer in the side table and pulled out the credit card statements, placing them on the table. I know about you and Richard, she said simply. I know about the credit card, the hotels, the gifts, the trips. I know it's been going on for 6 months. Vanessa's face paled, but she didn't deny it. Why am I here? To be humiliated? Threatened? No, Maya said. You're here because I want to understand. Vanessa looked surprised. Understand what? Everything, Maya replied. How it started. What he told you about me, about our marriage. What you feel for him. What you think he feels for you. Vanessa set her untouched tea down with a shaking hand. I didn't know he was married when it started, she said finally. He came to the gallery without a ring. He was charming, interested in my opinions about art, not just looking for status symbols to buy. We had coffee. Then dinner. It was weeks before. She trailed off. Before you slept together, Maya finished for her. Vanessa nodded, her eyes downcast. By then I was already falling for him. When I found out he was married, he told me. She stopped. He told you what? Maya pressed. Vanessa looked up, meeting Maya's eyes directly. He said your marriage was over in all but name. That you were together for appearance's sake, for his company's image. That you lived separate lives. That you didn't love each other anymore. Maya absorbed this, the pain sharp but clarifying. And you believed him. I had no reason not to, Vanessa said defensively. And he was so unhappy when he talked about his home life, so different when he was with me. When did he give you the credit card? Maya asked. 3 months ago, Vanessa admitted. He said it was easier than always getting cash, and he wanted me to have nice things, to be able to meet him at nice places without worrying about the cost. Maya nodded slowly. And where is this going, Vanessa? Has he promised to leave me? To marry you once we're divorced? Something flickered across Vanessa's face, not guilt but uncertainty. He says he wants a future with me. That he'll leave when the time is right. The time is right when he says it is? Maya asked gently. How convenient for him. Vanessa bristled. It's complicated. His company, the public image. Yes, his precious image, Maya interrupted. The same image I've helped him build for 7 years. The same image that apparently requires a wife at home and a mistress in Soho. Vanessa stood abruptly. I didn't come here to be insulted. No, you came because I asked you to, Maya said, remaining seated. Because you were curious. Because you wanted to see the woman Richard is cheating on. Tell me, what did you expect? Tears? Screaming? A bitter, neglectful wife who deserved to be betrayed. Vanessa sat back down slowly. I don't know what I expected. Let me tell you what I've learned, Maya said, leaning forward. Richard told you our marriage was empty. He told me he had meetings and business trips. He gave you a credit card linked to our joint account. Money I helped him earn, by the way. I built his company's foundation, raised millions for charity in his name, stood beside him when he was nothing but potential and dreams. She paused, controlling her emotions. But here's the most important thing, Vanessa. Last night he told me he loves me. He held me, made love to me, promised we'd take that trip I wanted soon. Just as I'm sure he tells you he loves you, holds you, makes promises about your future. Vanessa's face crumpled slightly. You're lying. Am I? Maya challenged. Call him. Ask him where he was last night. Ask him about our conversation about taking a weekend away. Vanessa's hands trembled in her lap. What do you want from me? I want you to pay back every penny you spent on that credit card, Maya said calmly. Not to Richard, to me. My account. I'll text you the details. Vanessa stared at her. You want money? That's it. That's the start, Maya clarified. I also want you to look at your relationship with my husband clearly. He's living a double life, Vanessa. Promising us both futures he can't deliver. Is that really the man you want? Is that really love? Vanessa stood again, this time more slowly. I should go. Think about what I've said, Maya told her. You have 1 week to return the money. After that, I go to Richard. As Maya walked her to the elevator, Vanessa turned suddenly. He does love me, you know. Whatever he says to you, whatever front he puts on for his company and the world, when we're alone, he's real with me. Maya smiled sadly. Maybe he is. Or maybe he's just a man who's discovered he can have everything he wants as long as he tells the right lies to the right people. After Vanessa left, Maya sat alone in the silent apartment, turning over their conversation in her mind. She hadn't expected to feel sympathy for the other woman, but there it was. A recognition that Vanessa too had been deceived by Richard's ability to compartmentalize his life, to be fully present and seemingly authentic in each separate world he created. Her phone buzzed with a text from Richard. Dinner at home tonight? I'll cook. Maya looked at the message, thinking of Vanessa returning to her Soho apartment, perhaps waiting for her own text from Richard, perhaps questioning everything for the first time. Sounds perfect, Maya replied. I have a new painting to show you. She glanced at the wrapped canvas from Vanessa's gallery. Opposing forces creating something beautiful when they meet. How fitting. Maya wasn't sure what would emerge from this clash of truths and lies, love and betrayal, but she was no longer just reacting. She was choosing her path step by deliberate step. As she prepared for an evening with the husband who was living a double life, Maya felt strangely calm. The confrontation with Vanessa had cleared something in her mind. Tonight she would watch Richard closely, see the man beneath the mask and decide what she truly wanted, not just for now but for her future. Richard arrived home at 7, arms full of grocery bags, face bright with a smile that once made Maya's heart race. Now she watched him coolly as he unpacked fresh pasta, vegetables, a bottle of expensive wine. "I thought I'd make that pesto pasta you love," he said, kissing her cheek as he moved around the kitchen with easy confidence. "Sounds wonderful," Maya replied, pouring them each a glass of wine. "How was your day?" "Productive," Richard said, chopping basil with practiced strokes. "Lined up some new investors for the expansion." "Yours?" "Interesting," Maya said truthfully. "I bought some art." Richard glanced up, his knife pausing mid-chop. "Oh? From where?" "A small gallery in Chelsea," Maya said, watching his face carefully. "There's a new artist there featuring who works with themes of connection and separation." It spoke to me. Richard's expression didn't change, but his chopping slowed slightly. "Sounds intriguing. Where is it?" "Still wrapped," Maya nodded toward the canvas leaning against the wall. "I thought we could hang it together after dinner." Richard smiled, but something flickered behind his eyes. Wariness, perhaps. Looking forward to it. They moved through dinner with the ease of long familiarity, Richard talking about his business deals, Maya sharing updates about the foundation, both of them skirting any topics that might reveal the fault lines beneath their perfect surface. As Richard cleared their plates, Maya brought up the weekend trip again. "I was thinking Maine for our getaway. That little coastal town we loved last fall." Richard dried his hands on a towel, his back to her. "This weekend is still difficult, Maya. The Robertson deal is at a critical stage." "The following weekend then," Maya pressed. Richard turned, his expression a mixture of regret and determination that she now recognized as his lying face. "Let me check the calendar tomorrow. But soon, I promise." Maya nodded, accepting this with a smile that revealed nothing of her thoughts. "Let's look at that painting now." She unwrapped the canvas while Richard poured more wine. His sharp intake of breath told her he recognized the piece, or at least the style. "It's beautiful," he said carefully. "The artist has a unique perspective." "Yes," Maya agreed. "Vanessa was quite passionate about it when she showed it to me." Richard's wineglass paused halfway to his lips. "Vanessa?" "Vanessa Collins," Maya clarified, turning to face him fully. "The gallery director who sold me the painting. You know her, don't you, Richard?" His face performed a remarkable series of calculations in seconds. Shock, fear, denial, and finally, a cautious neutrality. "I may have met her at some point. I visit many galleries." "Yes, you do," Maya said softly. "Along with many hotels, restaurants, and jewelry stores." Richard set his glass down slowly. "Maya, what are you saying?" "I know about the credit card, Richard," she said. "I know about Vanessa. I know about the 6 months of lies." Richard's face went pale, then flushed. He opened his mouth, closed it, then sank onto the sofa. "Maya, I can explain." "I'm sure you can," she replied, remaining standing. "You're very good at explanations. At compartmentalizing. At making each woman in your life feel like she's the only one who really understands you." "It's not like that," Richard protested. "Then what is it like?" Maya challenged. "Tell me, Richard. Help me understand how my husband of 7 years could lead a double life without a hint of guilt." Richard ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration she had once found endearing. "It just happened, Maya. I never meant to hurt you." "But you did mean to sleep with her," Maya said. "You did mean to give her access to our money. You did mean to promise her a future with you." Richard's head snapped up. "What did she tell you?" "She told me enough," Maya said. "I went to her gallery. We had a very illuminating conversation today." "You went behind my back?" Richard asked, anger creeping into his voice. Maya laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "That's rich coming from you." "Yes, Richard, I investigated the woman my husband is sleeping with. Forgive me for not respecting your privacy while you betrayed our marriage." Richard stood, pacing the room. "This is why he stopped himself. "This is why you what?" Maya pressed. "This is why you cheated? Because I might actually stand up for myself if I found out? Because I'm not the compliant, oblivious wife you wanted? No, Richard exclaimed. It's not about you, Maya. It's about me. I was lost, confused. Vanessa was just there, and it felt good to be admired for something other than my money or my company. I admired you before you had either, Maya reminded him quietly. I loved you when you were working out of that tiny apartment in Brooklyn, when we ate ramen 3 nights a week because we were saving for your first real office. Richard's face softened. I know. And I love you, Maya. This thing with Vanessa, it's not real. It's not what we have. And what do we have, Richard? Maya asked. A marriage where you lie to my face every day? Where you tell another woman our relationship is empty? Where you promise her the future you promised me? Richard moved toward her, reaching for her hands, but Maya stepped back. Don't, she warned. Don't touch me right now. He let his hands fall to his sides. What do you want me to do? Tell me how to fix this. Maya looked at him, the man she had loved for so long, the man who had held her heart in his hands and then treated it carelessly. I don't know if this can be fixed, Richard. Are you leaving me? He asked, fear naked on his face. I haven't decided yet, Maya answered honestly. But I've already taken the first step in figuring out what happens next. I've asked Vanessa to return every penny she spent using your credit card, not to you but to me. Richard looked confused. The money doesn't matter, Maya. I'll give you whatever you want. It's not about the money, Maya said. It's about consequences. It's about her recognizing that she used resources that weren't just yours to give. Resources I helped build. My self-respect has a price, Richard, and she's going to pay it before I decide what to do about you. Richard sat back down heavily. And if she pays? What then? Then I make a choice, Maya said simply. To stay and work on rebuilding what you broke or to leave and build something new without you. She moved toward the door, grabbing her purse. Where are you going? Richard asked, panic edging his voice. To a hotel, Maya replied calmly. I need space to think, Richard. Space without you. Maya, please. Richard stood, his voice breaking. Don't leave. We can talk this through. We've talked enough for tonight, Maya said, her hand on the door. I'll call you tomorrow. As the elevator doors closed behind her, Maya felt a strange mix of pain and power. For the first time since discovering Richard's betrayal, she was the one making decisions, setting terms, taking control of what happened next. In the quiet of her hotel room, Maya stared out at the city lights and wondered what Vanessa was doing right now. Had Richard called her in a panic? Was he confessing to his wife's ultimatum, or creating some new lie to keep his two worlds from colliding further? Maya's phone buzzed repeatedly, texts and calls from Richard that she ignored. She needed this night to herself, to sort through the tangle of emotions inside her. Anger at his betrayal. Hurt at his lies. Pride in her own strength. And beneath it all, a question she couldn't yet answer. Did she still love him enough to forgive? A week passed like a strange dream. Maya stayed at the hotel for 3 nights before returning to the penthouse. Richard had moved into the guest room without being asked, giving her the space she needed while making it clear he wasn't giving up on their marriage. Every morning, flowers arrived with handwritten notes, not generic apologies but specific memories from their years together. The day they met. Their first vacation. The night he proposed. The small, perfect moments that had built their life before the lies began. At the foundation office, Maya threw herself into work, reviewing scholarship applications for next year's recipients. Here at least something good had come from Richard's wealth. Dozens of students who would have opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. Zoe called daily, offering support, a listening ear, righteous anger on Maya's behalf. But the decision had to be Maya's alone. On the 7th day, an email arrived from Vanessa Collins. A receipt for a wire transfer to Maya's personal account, the exact amount that had been spent on the credit card, down to the penny. No message accompanied it, just the cold, hard fact of debts repaid. An hour later, Maya's phone rang with an unknown number. Hello, she answered cautiously. It's Vanessa, the familiar voice said. I've sent the money. I received it, Maya confirmed. Thank you. A long pause stretched between them. Then Vanessa spoke, her voice tight with emotion. He's been calling me, you know, begging me not to walk away, promising he'll leave you soon. The same promises he's probably making to you about never seeing me again. Maya closed her eyes, the confirmation of her suspicions landing like a physical blow. What are you going to do? I already did it, Vanessa said simply. I told him it's over. That I won't be the other woman anymore. That I deserve better than scraps of time and secret hotel rooms. Maya hadn't expected this. Why are you telling me? Because you deserve to know what kind of man you're deciding whether to forgive, Vanessa replied. He tried to keep us both, Maya. Even after being caught, he tried to save both relationships. That's who he is. After the call ended, Maya sat at her desk, turning this new information over in her mind. Richard was still trying to have everything, her forgiveness and Vanessa's continued affection. The betrayal hadn't stopped, it had just adapted to new circumstances. That evening she came home early to find Richard cooking again. Her favorite salmon this time, with flowers on the table and candles lit. Maya, he said, relief washing over his face. I was hoping we could talk tonight. Really talk. Maya set her purse down and looked at the husband she had loved so completely. Yes, she said. It's time. Over dinner, Richard poured out apologies, explanations, promises to change. Maya listened quietly, letting him talk himself out. When he finally fell silent, looking at her with hopeful eyes, she took a deep breath. Vanessa called me today, she said simply. Richard's face paled. What did she say? That you've been calling her, Maya replied. Begging her to wait for you. Promising to leave me soon. She's lying, Richard insisted, but his eyes gave him away, that quick shift of gaze that had become so familiar. I told her it was over. No, Richard, Maya said sadly. You told her what you thought she needed to hear, just like you're telling me what you think I need to hear. You're still trying to keep us both. Richard's face crumpled. Maya, please. I love you. I made a terrible mistake, but you're the one I want to be with. I believe you love me, Maya said softly. In your way. But you loved her too. Or at least, you wanted her enough to risk everything we built together. She stood, moving to the windows to look out at the city that had been their home. I've been thinking all week about what I want, Richard. About whether I can forgive you. About whether our marriage can survive this. Richard came to stand behind her, careful not to touch her. And? Maya turned to face him. I want a divorce. The words hung in the air between them, final and irrevocable. Richard's face showed shock, then desperation. No, he pleaded. Maya, don't do this. We can work through this. I'll do anything, therapy, complete transparency, whatever you need. It's not about what you're willing to do now, Maya explained. It's about what you already did. Not just the affair but the lies. The way you compartmentalized your life so completely. The way you're still trying to do it even now. Richard's shoulders slumped. I don't want to lose you. You already did, Maya said gently. The moment you decided to live a double life, you lost the right to the future we planned. What about the foundation? Richard asked. Your work. I'll continue running it, Maya said firmly. Those students deserve their opportunities regardless of what happens between us. But I'll build my own life now, Richard. A life where I'm someone's only choice, not their convenient public face. As the reality sank in, Richard's expression hardened slightly. You'll get a generous settlement. I won't fight you on that. But the company? I don't want your company, Maya interrupted. I don't want your billions. I want my dignity and a fresh start. Later, after Richard had retreated to the guest room and the penthouse fell silent, Maya stood on the balcony, feeling the night air against her skin. The decision had been made. Tomorrow would bring lawyers, paperwork, the dismantling of 7 years together. But tonight, for the first time since finding those credit card statements, Maya felt at peace. Her phone buzzed with a text from Zoe. How are you holding up? I told him, Maya replied. It's over. Do you need company? Zoe asked. Maya considered, then typed, not tonight. Tonight I need to be alone with my decision. As she got ready for bed, in the master bedroom that would soon no longer be hers, Maya caught her reflection in the mirror. The woman looking back at her seemed different somehow. Sadder, yes, but also stronger. More certain. More herself. She thought of Vanessa Collins, who had chosen her own self-respect over Richard's promises. Two women who had loved the same man, both now walking away from him. There was a poetry to it that Maya appreciated, a symmetry that felt right. Tomorrow would begin the next chapter of her life. A life without Richard, without the security of his wealth, without the identity she had built as his wife. It should have terrified her, but instead, Maya felt a strange excitement building. Whatever came next would be entirely her choice, her path, her future. She fell asleep dreaming not of what she was losing, but of what she might find. 3 months after telling Richard she wanted a divorce, Maya stood in the empty living room of her new apartment. It was nothing like the penthouse, A modest two-bedroom in Brooklyn with worn hardwood floors and windows that stuck slightly when you tried to open them. But it was hers, paid for with her own money from the settlement that had finally been agreed upon. The divorce had been finalized with surprising speed, Richard's lawyers working to make the process as painless and as private as possible. The business world had buzzed with rumors and speculation, but Maya had maintained a dignified silence, focusing instead on transitioning the foundation to a new funding structure that would allow her to continue her work independently. Last box, Zoe announced, setting down a cardboard container labeled kitchen. You're officially moved in. Maya smiled at her friend. Thank you for helping. I know this isn't how you planned to spend your Saturday. Are you kidding? This is way better than my original plan of binge-watching crime documentaries, Zoe replied, collapsing onto Maya's new, much smaller, sofa. How does it feel? Being on your own again? Maya looked around the apartment, at the boxes waiting to be unpacked, at the walls she planned to paint herself, at the small balcony overlooking a tree-lined street. It feels right, she said simply. Scary but right. Her phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it and smiled slightly. Richard? Zoe asked, raising an eyebrow. Maya shook her head. James. The guy from the jazz club I told you about. He's asking if I want to grab coffee sometime. And do you? Zoe pressed. Maya set the phone down without responding. I'm not ready yet. Maybe in a few months, but right now I need to focus on building my life again. Just for me. They spent the afternoon unpacking, ordering pizza when hunger struck, laughing as they arranged and rearranged furniture until the space began to feel like home. Maya had brought little from her life with Richard. Some books, her clothes, a few pieces of art that had been hers before they married. The painting from Vanessa's gallery hung in her new living room, a reminder of the moment everything changed. As evening fell, Zoe headed home, leaving Maya alone in her new space. She poured a glass of wine and stepped out onto the small balcony, listening to the sounds of the neighborhood. Music drifting from open windows, children playing in the distance, the occasional car passing by. It was so different from the lofty silence of the penthouse, so alive. Her phone rang, Richard's number on the screen. She hesitated, then answered. Hello, Richard. Maya? His voice sounded tired. I just wanted to check that the movers got everything to you safely. They did, she confirmed. Thank you for arranging that. An awkward silence stretched between them, full of things unsaid. The foundation board unanimously approved your continued leadership, Richard said finally. As an independent entity, just as you wanted. I appreciate that, Maya replied. Another silence. I miss you, Richard admitted quietly. The penthouse feels empty without you. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the expected pang of loss, but it was duller now, more distant. Richard, we agreed to give each other space. I know, he sighed. I just wanted to hear your voice. To make sure you're okay. I am okay, Maya told him, and was surprised to realize it was true. I'm starting over and it's frightening, but it's also exciting. I tried to call Vanessa, Richard said suddenly. After you left. She wouldn't take my calls either. Maya wasn't surprised. We both made our choices, Richard. I made a terrible mistake, he said. I lost everything that mattered. No, Maya corrected gently. You lost us because of choices you made. There's a difference. After the call ended, Maya remained on the balcony watching darkness fall over Brooklyn. Richard sounded genuinely regretful, genuinely lonely. Perhaps he truly did understand what he had lost now. But it was too late for them. Some breaks couldn't be mended, some trust couldn't be rebuilt. Her phone buzzed again, another text from James. No pressure. The offer stands whenever you're ready. Maya smiled to herself. Not now, but someday. When the wounds had healed more fully. When she had found her footing in this new life. When she was ready to trust again. For now, she had her work, her new home, her journey of rediscovery. Tomorrow she would paint these walls the colors she chose, arrange her books on shelves, make this space truly hers. The future stretched before her, uncertain but full of possibility. As night settled over the city, Maya felt a contentment she hadn't expected to find so soon after the end of her marriage. It wasn't happiness, not yet, but it was peace. The knowledge that she had faced betrayal and had chosen herself, her dignity, her future. Whatever came next would be on her terms. She raised her wine glass in a silent toast to new beginnings, to second chances, to the strength she hadn't known she possessed until it was tested. The worst was behind her now. The best was yet to come. 6 months into her new life, Maya had settled into a rhythm. Mornings at the foundation office, working with her team to expand their scholarship program. Evenings exploring her neighborhood, discovering small restaurants and shops, occasionally meeting Zoe for drinks or a movie. Weekends spent volunteering, reading, learning to cook properly for the first time in her life. The divorce was old news now, the gossip cycle having moved on to fresher scandals. Richard had thrown himself into expanding his company globally, his face occasionally appearing in business magazines or on tech news sites. They communicated rarely and only about foundation matters when necessary. On a crisp fall day, Maya was hurrying through a crowded farmer's market, shopping bag filled with fresh produce, when she quite literally bumped into someone. "I'm so sorry," she began, looking up to see a familiar face. "Vanessa." Vanessa Collins looked as surprised as Maya felt. "Maya. Hi." They stood awkwardly among the bustling shoppers, neither sure what to say. Vanessa looked different, her hair cut into a stylish bob, dressed casually in jeans and a sweater rather than the sleek gallery outfits Maya remembered. "How are you?" Maya asked finally. "Good," Vanessa replied. "I'm good. I heard about the divorce. I'm sorry." Maya shrugged slightly. "Don't be. It was the right decision." Vanessa nodded, glancing at her watch. "I should go. Would you like to get coffee?" Maya found herself asking, surprising both of them. "If you have time." 15 minutes later, they sat across from each other at a small cafe, steaming mugs between them. The initial awkwardness remained, but beneath it was a strange sense of connection. Two women whose lives had collided in the most painful way possible, now on the other side of that collision. "I left the gallery," Vanessa said, breaking the silence. "Started my own small consulting business, helping new artists get established." "That sounds fulfilling," Maya commented. "Are you still in Soho?" Vanessa shook her head. "I moved to Williamsburg. Needed a fresh start." She paused, then added, "Your foundation is doing amazing work. I read about the new mentorship program in the Times." "Thank you," Maya said, genuinely touched that Vanessa had followed her work. "Have you heard from him?" Vanessa asked carefully. Maya nodded. "Occasionally. Foundation business. You." "He sent flowers on my birthday last month," Vanessa admitted. "I donated them to a nursing home." They both laughed, the tension between them easing slightly. "It's strange," Maya said, stirring her coffee. "A year ago, I would have hated being in the same room with you. Now we're just two women who learned the hard way not to trust a charming billionaire," Vanessa completed the thought. "Something like that," Maya agreed. They talked for nearly an hour, not about Richard but about their work, their neighborhoods, books they'd read recently. As they prepared to leave, Vanessa hesitated. "I never properly apologized," she said quietly. "For my part in hurting you." Maya considered this. "We were both deceived, Vanessa. In different ways, but still." "Still, I'm sorry," Vanessa insisted. "And I admire how you handled everything, with dignity and strength. It helped me find my own." They exchanged numbers, not quite friends but no longer enemies either. As Maya walked home, shopping bag swinging at her side, she marveled at the strange turns life could take. The woman who had once been her husband's mistress was now someone she might actually like, might even become friends with someday. That evening, she received a text from James, who had become a casual friend over the past few months. "Jazz at the Blue Note tonight. Interested?" Maya looked around her apartment, at the life she had built piece by piece since leaving Richard. She had promised herself time, space to heal before considering romance again. But 6 months had passed, and the pain had dulled to an occasional ache rather than a constant presence. "Sure," she replied. "What time?" 3 hours later, she sat beside James in the dimly lit club, letting the music wash over her. He was handsome in a relaxed, unpretentious way, a high school music teacher with kind eyes and a genuine passion for jazz. No private jets, no billion-dollar empire, no power dynamics or complex mind games. Just a man who enjoyed her company and asked for nothing more than she was ready to give. "Penny for your thoughts," he said during a break between sets. Maya smiled. "I was just thinking how different my life is now from a year ago." "Better or worse?" he asked. She considered the question carefully. "Different," she said finally. "Smaller in some ways, bigger in others. More authentic." James nodded, not pressing for details she wasn't ready to share. That was one of the things she liked about him. His patience, his respect for her boundaries. "Would you like to have dinner next weekend?" he asked as they left the club. "A proper date, not just jazz and drinks." Maya looked at him in the glow of the street lights. "I'd like that," she said softly. "But I should tell you, I'm still healing from my divorce." I'm not sure what I'm ready for yet. One dinner, James said simply. No pressure for anything more. We can figure it out as we go. As she rode the subway home, Maya found herself smiling. One dinner. One step. One moment at a time. It was how she had rebuilt her life after Richard, and it was how she would move forward now, cautiously, deliberately, but with an open heart. She thought of Vanessa, also rebuilding her life after Richard's deception. She thought of Richard himself, alone in that empty penthouse with all his billions but none of the love he had thrown away. She thought of who she had been as Richard's wife, and who she was becoming now, stronger, more independent, more herself than she had been in years. The subway rattled through the darkness beneath the city, carrying her home to the life she had chosen. A smaller life in some ways, yes, but entirely her own. And for now that was enough. 1 year to the day after finding those credit card statements in Richard's office, Maya stood at the podium in a hotel ballroom, addressing the annual gala for her foundation. The room was filled with donors, scholarship recipients, educators, and community leaders, people who believed in the power of education to transform lives. When I started this journey, Maya told the crowd, I thought I was building something to honor my husband's legacy. What I discovered along the way was my own purpose, my own passion for this work. From her position at the podium, she could see her team seated at tables near the front. Dedicated people who had chosen to stay with her when the foundation separated from Richard's company. She could see current scholarship students, some of whom she had personally mentored over the past year. And at a table near the back she could see James, watching her with quiet pride. Today, I'm proud to announce that the Kane Foundation will be expanding our programming to include entrepreneurship training for our scholarship recipients, Maya continued. Because education isn't just about degrees, it's about opportunity, possibility, and the courage to forge your own path. The applause was warm and genuine as Maya concluded her speech and returned to her seat. The gala continued around her. Dinner served, awards presented, student testimonials shared. It was a successful evening by any measure, raising more money than they had anticipated for the coming year's programs. As the formal portion of the event wound down and people began to mingle, Maya felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find Richard standing there, looking both familiar and strange in his perfectly tailored suit. Richard, she said, surprised. I didn't know you were coming. I slipped in during your speech, he admitted. I didn't want to distract from your moment. You were brilliant up there. Thank you, Maya said, unsure what else to say. They hadn't seen each other face to face in months. Richard glanced around the room. You've done amazing things with the foundation. Better than when it was under my company's umbrella. It was always my project, Maya reminded him gently. Now it's just officially mine. Richard nodded, a flash of regret crossing his face. I made a donation tonight. Anonymous. That wasn't necessary, Maya began, but Richard shook his head. It was, he insisted. This work matters. What you're doing matters. They stood in awkward silence for a moment, the room buzzing with conversation around them. I heard your company's expansion is going well, Maya offered finally. Richard shrugged. The business is thriving. The rest. He trailed off, then smiled sadly. Let's just say I've learned some hard lessons about what really matters. Maya noticed James approaching from across the room, concern on his face as he spotted her talking to Richard. Is that him? Richard asked, following her gaze. You're new. Friend, Maya supplied. For now. Richard nodded. He looks like a good man. He is, Maya confirmed. You look happy, Maya, Richard said softly. It's good to see. Before she could respond, James reached them, standing protectively at Maya's side. Everything okay? He asked, glancing between them. James, this is Richard, Maya introduced them. Richard, James teaches music at Williamsburg Prep. The men shook hands, sizing each other up with the awkward politeness of this unusual situation. I should go, Richard said after a moment. I just wanted to congratulate you on the gala's success, Maya, and to see how you were doing. Thank you for coming, Maya said sincerely, and for the donation. As Richard walked away, disappearing into the crowd, James touched Maya's arm gently. You all right? Maya watched her ex-husband's retreating back, feeling a complex mixture of emotions, sadness for what had been lost, pride in what she had built from those ruins, and a strange sense of closure that she hadn't realized she needed. Yes, she said, turning to James with a smile. I'm good. Later that night, after the gala had ended and James had walked her to her door with a gentle kiss goodnight, Maya sat on her balcony, looking out at the Brooklyn skyline. 1 year. One full trip around the sun since the day everything changed. Her phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa, who had become an unlikely friend in recent months. Saw the gala was tonight. Hope it went well. Lunch next week? Maya smiled as she replied affirmatively. Life was full of strange twists. The woman who had once been her husband's mistress was now someone who understood certain parts of her journey in ways no one else could. Another text arrived, this one from Richard. You've built something amazing, Maya. Something entirely your own. I'm proud of you for whatever that's worth. Maya read the message twice, then set her phone aside without replying. Perhaps someday they would find a way to be friends, to honor the good parts of their shared history while acknowledging the pain that had ended it. But for now, it was enough to know that he recognized the strength she had found, the life she had created from the ashes of his betrayal. She thought about James, his patience, his honesty, the way he made her laugh without trying. They were taking things slowly, building a foundation of friendship and trust before anything more. Maya wasn't sure where it would lead, but for the first time since her divorce, she was open to the possibility of loving again. The night air was cool against her skin as Maya looked up at the stars, barely visible through the city's glow. 1 year ago, she had thought her life was ending when she found those credit card statements. Instead, it had been beginning again, painfully, yes, but also beautifully. She had lost a husband but found herself. Lost a penthouse but gained a home. Lost the security of billions but gained the satisfaction of building something meaningful with her own hands. As midnight approached, marking the exact anniversary of her discovery, Maya raised her wine glass in a silent toast, not to what she had lost but to what she had found. Not to the past but to the future. Not to the pain that had broken her, but to the strength that had put her back together again. 1 year down. A lifetime of possibilities ahead. 2 years after the divorce, Maya's foundation had grown into a respected institution with programs in 3 cities. Her relationship with James had deepened into something solid and true, a partnership of equals built on honesty and respect. Her friendship with Vanessa had evolved into a business collaboration, with Vanessa's arts consultancy providing opportunities for the foundation's scholarship recipients interested in creative fields. Life had found its rhythm, its balance. The pain of Richard's betrayal had faded to an occasional memory rather than a daily presence. Maya was happy, truly, genuinely happy in a way she hadn't been even during the good years of her marriage. On a sunny spring morning, Maya was reviewing applications for the foundation's newest program when her assistant knocked on her office door. Miss Kane? There's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment. Maya looked up, puzzled. Who is it? She says her name is Sophia Kane. Richard Kane's mother. Maya's breath caught. She hadn't seen Richard's mother since the divorce. The elegant, formidable woman who had welcomed Maya into the Kane family had respected her wishes for distance after the marriage ended. Send her in, Maya said, rising from her desk. Sophia Kane entered the office with the same grace Maya remembered. Tall, slender, her silver hair swept into a perfect chignon, her clothes simple but expensive. At 72, she carried herself with the confidence of a woman who had navigated high society for decades without losing her authentic self. Maya, Sophia said warmly. You look wonderful. Sophia, Maya replied, stepping forward to embrace her former mother-in-law. This is a surprise. A good one, I hope, Sophia said, accepting the seat Maya offered. Of course, Maya assured her. Would you like some tea? Once they were settled with steaming cups, Sophia looked around the office approvingly. You've built something remarkable here, Maya. I've been following your work. Those children whose lives you're changing, they're lucky to have you fighting for them. Thank you, Maya said. But I'm sure you didn't come here just to compliment the foundation. Sophia smiled ruefully. Direct as always. That's one of the things I always liked about you. She sighed, setting her teacup down. It's Richard. He's ill. Maya felt a cold shock run through her. What? How ill? Heart attack, Sophia said grimly. Last week. He's stable now, but it was serious. The doctors are saying it was stress, overwork, poor lifestyle choices. She paused. He's been lost since you left, Maya. Throwing himself into work, neglecting his health. I'm so sorry, Maya said sincerely. But Sophia, I don't understand why you're telling me this. We've been divorced for 2 years. Sophia reached across the desk to take Maya's hand. Because he's asking for you. Not as his wife again, he knows that's over. But as his friend. The person who knew him better than anyone else. Maya withdrew her hand gently. Sophia, I care about Richard's well-being. I always will. But we haven't spoken in months. I've built a new life. With the music teacher, Sophia nodded. Richard told me. He says he seems like a good man. He is, Maya confirmed. My son made a terrible mistake, Sophia said quietly. The worst mistake of his life, destroying what you had together. But he's paid for it, Maya. Every day for 2 years he's paid for it. And now, facing his own mortality. She trailed off. What exactly are you asking me to do? Maya questioned. Just visit him, Sophia requested. He's at home now recovering. One visit as a friend. That's all. Maya looked at the woman who had once been like a mother to her, seeing the worry etched in the lines around her eyes. I'll think about it, she promised. After Sophia left, Maya sat at her desk, emotions swirling. Richard, Illinois. Richard wanting to see her. Richard, still a presence in her life despite everything. That evening, she told James about Sophia's visit as they prepared dinner together in her apartment. Their easy domestic rhythm now a comfortable part of her life. Are you going to go? James asked, his voice carefully neutral as he chopped vegetables. Maya leaned against the counter watching him. I don't know. What do you think? James set down his knife, turning to face her. I think you need to decide what feels right to you. Not what you owe him or don't owe him. What you need for your own peace. You wouldn't mind? Maya pressed. James smiled slightly. Maya, I'm secure enough in what we have to not feel threatened by your ex-husband, especially when he's recovering from a heart attack. If seeing him will help you close that chapter completely, or give you both some peace, then you should go. Maya wrapped her arms around him, resting her head against his chest. How did I get so lucky twice in one lifetime? The next day, Maya found herself standing outside Richard's penthouse, the home they had once shared. She had called ahead, spoken briefly to his assistant, arranged a time when they would have privacy. The doorman greeted her by name, a flash of surprise crossing his face before he masked it with professional courtesy. The elevator ride to the top floor felt surreal, memories flooding back with each passing second. When the doors opened, Maya stepped into the familiar foyer. The penthouse looked different, redecorated sometime after she left, the clean lines and muted colors she had preferred replaced with darker, more masculine furnishings. Richard's assistant met her, leading her through to the terrace where Richard was sitting, wrapped in a light blanket despite the warm day. He looked thinner than she remembered, his face pale, the confident energy that had always surrounded him dimmed. Maya, he said, his voice stronger than his appearance suggested. You came. Your mother is very persuasive, Maya replied, taking the seat across from him. How are you feeling? Better than I was a week ago, Richard answered. The doctors say I need to slow down. Change my lifestyle. He smiled ruefully. Turns out I'm not invincible after all. None of us are, Maya said softly. They sat in silence for a moment, the city sprawled out below them, the life they once shared hanging between them like a ghost. Thank you for coming, Richard said finally. I know you didn't have to. Why did you want to see me, Richard? Maya asked directly. He looked out at the skyline, his profile sharp against the blue sky. When you think you might die, even for a few minutes, it clarifies things. Makes you face the truths you've been avoiding. He turned back to her. I needed to tell you I'm sorry. Not just for the affair but for everything. For taking you for granted. For thinking I could have everything without consequences. For not appreciating what I had until it was gone. Maya absorbed his words, feeling the sincerity behind them. I forgave you a long time ago, Richard. Not for you but for me. I couldn't move forward carrying that anger. You seem happy, he commented. Truly happy. I am, Maya confirmed. The music teacher, James, right? He's good to you? Maya smiled. Yes. He's good to me and good for me. Richard nodded slowly. Good. That's good. He hesitated, then added, I tried dating again, you know. Nothing stuck. I think I'm still comparing everyone to you. Don't do that, Maya advised gently. It's not fair to them or to yourself. What we had was special, Richard. It was real until it wasn't. But it's over. You need to accept that to move forward. Says the woman who clearly has, Richard replied with a sad smile. They talked for nearly an hour, about the foundation, about his company, about mutual friends and Sophia's new puppy. It was strange how easy it was to talk to him now that the pain and betrayal had faded, now that she had found her own strength and happiness. As Maya prepared to leave, Richard caught her hand. One more thing, he said. I've made some changes to my will and my company's charitable foundation. Half of my estate will go to your foundation when I die. No strings attached, no naming rights required. Just support for the work you're doing. Maya stared at him, stunned. Richard, that's billions. Money well spent, he said simply. You're changing lives, Maya. More than I ever did by just making money. Maya shook her head, overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept it, Richard urged. Not for me, but for those kids who need the opportunities you're creating. Looking into his eyes, sincere, humble in a way she had rarely seen during their marriage, Maya nodded. Thank you. The foundation will put it to good use. As she stood to leave, Richard asked one final question. Are we okay, Maya? Can we be friends someday? Maya considered this, looking at the man she had once loved more than anything, the man who had broken her heart but also, inadvertently, set her free to find herself. I think we already are, she said softly. Friends? Different than before, but something new. The relief on Richard's face was palpable. That's more than I deserve. It's exactly what you deserve, Maya corrected him. We all deserve second chances, Richard. Just not always in the ways we expect them. Leaving the penthouse was easier than she had anticipated. There was closure in their conversation, a healing that benefited them both. As the elevator descended, Maya felt lighter, as if the last lingering threads tying her to her past had finally been untangled. That evening, as she and James walked hand in hand through Prospect Park, Maya told him about her visit with Richard. The apology, the donation, the beginning of a new kind of relationship built on forgiveness rather than resentment. How do you feel? James asked, his thumb tracing gentle circles on her palm. Maya looked up at the sky, where stars were just beginning to appear in the twilight. Complete, she said. Like the circle has finally closed. James smiled down at her. Does that mean you're ready for new circles to begin? Maya raised an eyebrow. What kind of circles did you have in mind? James pulled her to a stop beneath a large oak tree, the same spot where they had shared their first kiss nearly a year ago. Reaching into his pocket, he withdrew a small box. This kind, he said, dropping to one knee. Maya Kane, I know your past has taught you to be cautious about love. But I'm asking you to be brave one more time. To trust me with your heart as completely as I trust you with mine. He opened the box to reveal a simple but beautiful ring, nothing like the ostentatious diamond Richard had given her, but perfect in its understated elegance. Will you marry me? Maya looked at the man kneeling before her, honest, kind, talented James, who had never asked her to be anything but exactly who she was, who supported her work without trying to control it, who loved her for her strength rather than her beauty, who had patiently waited while she healed, never pushing, always steady. Yes, she whispered, tears filling her eyes. Yes, I will marry you. As James slipped the ring onto her finger and rose to kiss her, Maya felt the final pieces of her heart click into place. This was what love should be, supportive, honest, equal. Not perfect, not without challenges, but fundamentally true. 3 months later, Maya stood in the small garden behind Zoe's brownstone, preparing to walk down a simple aisle strewn with flower petals. Her dress was elegant but unfussy, her bouquet gathered from local flowers. James waited at the end of the aisle, his eyes shining with love and promise. The guest list was small: close friends, foundation colleagues, James's family, a few of Maya's relatives. And somewhat surprisingly, Sophia Kane, who had become a friend and supporter of Maya's work in the months since Richard's illness. Richard himself had not been invited, a boundary both he and Maya understood was necessary. But he had sent a generous gift with a simple note: to new beginnings. May you find all the happiness you deserve. As the music began and Maya took her first step toward her future, she reflected on the journey that had brought her here. The credit card statements that had shattered her world. The confrontation with Vanessa that had shown her own strength. The divorce that had freed her to discover who she truly was. The friendship that had blossomed into the love waiting for her at the altar. Every step, even the painful ones, had led her to this moment. To this man. To this life that was fully and completely her own choice. James's smile widened as she approached, his eyes never leaving hers. This wasn't the fairy tale she had imagined when she married Richard. No billions, no mansions, no private jets. It was something far more valuable, a partnership of equals built on honesty, respect, and genuine love. As Maya reached James and took his hands in hers, she felt a profound sense of rightness. This was where she belonged. This was the love she deserved. In the moment before they exchanged their vows, Maya silently thanked the woman she had been 2 years ago, broken but determined, hurt but resilient. That woman had made the hard choices, had demanded her dignity back, had rebuilt her life piece by piece. And now, that woman was becoming a bride again, wiser, stronger, and truly ready for the love standing before her. "I love you," James whispered, his voice for her alone. "I love you too," Maya replied, meaning it more deeply than she had ever thought possible again. As they sealed their vows with a kiss, applause erupting around them, Maya knew that her journey had come full circle. She had lost a husband but found herself. Lost a penthouse but gained a home. Lost the security of billions but gained the richness of authentic love. And in that exchange she had won everything that truly mattered.